Is this frequency in use? That's right. Welcome back. Hello and welcome. Welcome to another episode of 73 in the RGV. I am your host, Dave, call sign Kilo India 5, Delta Oscar Golf. And I'm coming to you today deep from the heart of the Rio Grande Valley where the sun's shining, the bands are open, and there's always something exciting happening on the airwaves. And today we're going to dive into one of the most popular digital modes out there right now, and that's FT-8, Foxtrot Tango 8. And we are going to focus on why the 10-meter band is one of the best places to experience the magic of weak signal digital communication. So strap yourselves in, especially if you're a technician class operator looking to get your feet wet in HF without having to build a giant antenna farm or learn CW overnight. Folks, this episode is for you. So, let us start with the basics. FT-8. FT-8 stands for Franke Taylor 8. FARNKE-TAYLOR 8. It's named after its creators, Joe Taylor, Kilo 1 Juliet Tango, and Steve Franke. Again, I might be mispronouncing it. If I am. But again, I'm trying. So it's either Frank or Frankie. It's got an E at the end. And that call sign for Steve Franke is Kilo 9 Alpha November. It is part of the Whiskey Sierra Juliet Tango X-Ray or WSJTX family of digital modes designed for weak signal communication. And what this means is that FT-8 is perfect for those times when the bands seem quiet or you are running low power, or maybe your antenna setup is modest, like a simple vertical or a dipole, or even a hamstick antenna on your balcony. See, FT-8 takes advantage of precise timing, synchronized computer clocks, and digital encoding to pull signals out of the air. And really, it's kind of it's almost like magic. It just pulls them out of the air. So you might not even hear anything on your speaker, but your software will decode stations hundreds or even thousands of miles away. And the coolest part is each transmission lasts just for 15 seconds. That's the allocated time, 15 seconds. Them transmitting and you transmitting, 15 seconds. So a two-way conversation in a minute, right? Not bad. See, it's mostly all automated. That's the other thing. I mean, you still have to click the button to initiate it, but it's mostly automated after that. Once you've initiated it, it goes through a sequence. And so that means you can make reliable QSOs, contacts, even when conditions are far from ideal. Now let's talk about why the 10-meter band. Why the 10-meter band is such a sweet spot for FT-8, especially here in South Texas, deep South Texas. See, when solar activity ramps up, like it's doing right now during solar cycle 25, 10 meters really comes alive, and that band can open wide, letting you work DX stations, distant stations from all over the world. In the morning as the sun is coming up, you're going to hear Europe. Then during the middle of the day, you're going to be really picking up a lot of South America, Brazil, Argentina, Chile. You're going to hear all of that. And then later in the afternoon, just as the sun is getting ready to start to set, you start picking up Asia and Oceania. It's pretty cool. I mean, you just traveled the world in a day. And from here in the Rio Grande Valley, we are in a fantastic spot. See, with the Gulf to the east and open plains to the south and the west, propagation on 10 meters can be incredible. And I've seen days when you can make solid FT-8 contacts again to Argentina, then hop the Atlantic over to Spain, and then clear on the other side to Japan and Korea, all in one sitting. And again, using just 25 watts and a simple, very simple vertical antenna. So if you're a technician, this is your chance to experience real HF fun, real HF adventure, real HF excitement without needing a general upgrade to your license just yet. I mean, shoot for the general. Always be practicing for the next one. But you can get in there because, remember, technicians have privileges. from 28.0 megahertz, right? 2.8, I'm sorry, 28.00 megahertz, all the way up to 28.300 megahertz, or 28.3 megahertz. And that's for sideband and digital modes like FT-8. Now, we'll talk about 300 all the way up to 500 in a future episode. We'll talk about that 10-meter band, and it's like $4.99. So either way, we're going to talk about that. So having that access, having the privilege to go ahead and transmit on sideband and digital modes, you're going to be good to go, and it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, now let's get practical. This section is going to get a little technical, but I promise you, once you start doing all of this, all of this will all start to fall into place. It all starts making sense, and then it's like, oh, I get it. So again, it might seem like a lot right now, but again, work it, and you'll get it. So here's what you need to get started, to start operating FT-8 on 10 meters. First, you're going to need a transceiver, transmitter receiver, transceiver that covers the 10-meter band. Now, and can also handle digital modes. Now, even entry-level rigs like the ICOM IC7300 or a Yaesu FT-891 or a Xiegu G90, they're going to do the job beautifully. The President radios, right? They also cover. There's some that cover 28 meters, just like they cover 10 meters, just like they cover 11 meters, right? Or 27 megahertz. So again, you want 28 megahertz. Then you're going to need an antenna, and again, nothing fancy here, because again, we're dealing with weak signals. So again, as long as it can pick up a signal, it'll work it, and that's the antenna. But you got to make sure that antenna is tuned to 28 megahertz. See, a simple vertical, a dipole, or even an end-fed wire antenna. It doesn't have to be fancy, but they're going to do the trick. And they do. They really do. That's what I use. Just a simple dipole, horizontal dipole, about a meter off the ground. I'm looking at moving up to 2 meters just to see what that changes. But again, it's something you play with. You can start right away. Next, you're going to need a computer. That's where all the interface deals with, all the digital stuff. That's where it decodes and encodes, right? So you're going to need a computer with a sound card interface connected to your radio. Now, many modern rigs have this built in via a USB, so that makes it really, really easy. But in my case, I'm using a President, and so President 2, I think is what it is, and Plus. And I have to actually use the cables, the little cables, one for the microphone input and one for the speaker output, and then reverse it on the other end. But it's out there. You can get it. It's really easy. Next, you're going to need the software. Now, hold on right there. You've already spent money on a transceiver. You spent some money to build an antenna. You definitely got some money into it to get the computer. Now I need software. But the beauty of WSJTX is it's free. It's free. It's well documented. It's supported, and it's used worldwide. So you pretty much feel reassured that if you're making that 10-meter contact, that FT-8 contact to someone in Chile, they're using the same software and probably even the same version that you're using right now to do the transmission. They're using to do the reception and transmission. And as long as the times are synced, you're good to go. And again, time synchronization is key. So make sure your machine time is up to date and current. Now, and I'll talk more about the time here in just a bit. Once installed, set your mode in the software. Once you install the software, set your mode to FT-8 to your 10 and band to 10 meters and a frequency to 28.074 megahertz. That's the standard FT-8 calling frequency for the band for 10 meters worldwide. Everybody's on it. There's some slight deviations, and in some of your reports you might see that there is a deviation, but again, the standard is 28.074. It's kind of the middle, and you can work around it. Now, next, as I mentioned, make sure your computer clock is accurate. It's got to be in sync. I have one machine. It's an HP. It's an older machine, and it goes out of time sync. If I turn it off for 2 weeks, it's off for 2 weeks as is, and when I turn it back on, it's off by a minute or two. But that's okay, because I can use the internal clock. I can actually set it to, get the atomic clock settings, or we can use some apps like Mindberg NTP or Dimension 4 to keep it synced. Now, in my case, my machine, again, you're going to know with your machine, if I leave it on, it stays on, it's synced. It does no problem. It stays synced. But if I turn it off, it's an older machine. It's from the turn of the century, and the turn of the 21st century, around there, mid tens, early tens to mid tens, somewhere around there is when I got it. But it still works. It's a great machine, and it does the trick. So again, just as long as it's on and the time is synced, that's really the thing. If you're not synced in time, you turn it on. Let's just say you turn on the software, the WSJTX software, and you're not seeing any signal, but it's trying to do something, and you're not seeing anything. Check your time, and that's been my case. That was usually the problem up front. But once I synchronized time, I was off and running. So it's not that difficult. But get it done. All right, next, watch the waterfall. Watch the waterfall. There you're going to see those little colored streaks, those live signals waiting to be decoded. Click on one, hit the Enable TX. Before you know it, you're exchanging signal reports with a station halfway around the world. And that's fun. Again, this is fun. All right, now it's time for your action item of the week. And of course, it's going to involve making your first contact with FT-8. So if you've never tried FT-8 and you've been curious and you're so inclined, then why not set a goal? Set the following goal. Make your first 10-meter FT-8 QSO. Okay, maybe not this weekend. You're going to need to get some gear. I get it. But, we got a long holiday weekend coming up. That's a great time to spend a little time. Obviously, it's a great time to spend with the family. But it's also a great time to just, work on this project. Throw up an antenna, plug everything in, test everything out, make sure it all works, it connects, and next thing you know, you're off and running. So pick a clear day also. Set your power to around 25 watts or less if it lets you do that. Tune your antenna as best as you can and start calling CQ on that FT-8. Now, if you are in the Rio Grande Valley, keep an eye out for openings around late morning and mid-afternoon. That's when 10 meters really, truly light up down here. Now, it's not a given. It's not an always. But if it's going to happen, it'll happen there. You'll get those sporadics early in the day. Just as the sun's coming up, things are starting to heat up in our neck of the woods. But really late morning, mid-afternoon, that lunch hour is really wild down here when it does fire off. So when you make your first contact, do me a favor. Take a screenshot. Jot it in your logbook. Don't forget it. And of course, you can also upload it to there's an automated process where you can upload it to your logbook on QuebecRomeoZulu.com or QRZ.com or QRZ.com. And I'll have that link in the show notes. And you can upload it there, and you have your logbook there, which is pretty cool. And you can actually go back, and you'll see how fast they add up. But you'll also be able to go back and say, hey, I remember the first one. So there it is. So again, set it up. Get your gear in order, and set up and make your first 10-meter FT-8 contact. That's your goal. All right, let's take just a couple of minutes here before we continue on with the rest of the show. Let's do a quick recap of what we covered with FT-8. FT-8, again, is one of the easiest ways to get started on HF. Especially, it's perfect for technicians exploring the digital modes. And again, don't worry about whether to say it is still radio. You still have to have a license to do it. You still have to set up, and you still have to press the button to make that contact or initiate a contact. So again, you are involved. 10 meters. The 10 meters is an excellent playground, especially during the solar cycle. And of course, you do not need expensive gear. A modest setup and the free WSJTX software can get you around the world. And right here in the Rio Grande Valley, we've got the perfect spot to take advantage of 10-meter propagation. Give it a shot, experiment, as I mentioned, log those contacts, and most importantly, have fun learning how to go far. How far your signal can go. How far can you throw your signal out there? It's fun seeing when you make that long distance contact. I know, trust me, I was wild when I made the contact to Scotland. I'd never been that far north into Europe, And I've been that far east, but not that far north into Europe. That's the northernest I've gotten. But it's awesome. It's cool. So again, have fun. That's what it's really all about. Have fun. Do with it with what you've got. Don't go out of your way. Don't break the bank. If somebody says you need to get this or you need to get that, you know what? If they're going to get it for you, they can say all they want. But again, it falls on you how far you want to take it and to what you can do and not do and know your limits. So again, have fun, and that's limitless. All right, so it's that time in the show where we visit the club websites and their social media for their latest revisions, updates, and any other news that they have. So let's make the rounds. Let's make the rounds. So first, we're going to visit the Rio Grande Valley Amateur Radio Club's website at rgvarc.org. That's Romeo Golf Victor Alpha Romeo Charlie.org or Oscar Romeo Golf, RIOARC.org. Alrighty, so reminder, Rag Chew Monday, every Monday. That's why they call it Rag Chew Monday. Every Monday, 6 p.m. on their repeater network. Alrighty. Next, the District 3 ARESnet, ARES. And again, we're coming up on that episode about the emergency services and all of that. So be on the lookout for that, Aries and Races. And that's every Thursday evening here. Every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. Central. So again, if you're there, you're interested, check out the website. If you're a part of the group, don't forget to check in. Alrighty, next, Simplex Sunday. Simplex Sunday, also on, coincidentally, Sunday. That's right, Simplex Sunday every Sunday, and they're using that national Simplex calling frequency. So again, tune in, and that's at 6 p.m. Central Time. 6 p.m. Central Time every Sunday. And of course, for more information on the club itself, how to join, how to become a member, participate in events and activities, please stop by the RGVARC.org website. And as always, that link will be in the show notes. All right, next, let's take a visit over to the Rio Amateur Radio Club at their website, RIOARC, Romeo India Oscar, Alpha Romeo Charlie.org. And hey, if you've been following along, guess what? They are up to their 12th. The 12th. They've got a dozen of those Pico balloons. They've set them up, and they've been doing some pretty cool stuff with them. And again, visit the website so you can see what's going on, what they're doing, and all of that cool stuff. Also, the Rio Amateur Club, every Wednesday at 8 a.m., they have their club breakfast. Every Wednesday, 8 a.m. at Los Leones in La Feria, Texas. And then every Saturday morning, and again, Saturday morning is their club breakfast at Tejano Grill in Harlingen, Texas. Not bad. Of course, the monthly meeting, they got one coming up here real soon from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. the second Tuesday of each month. So I'm recording this on October 18, the second Tuesday of the upcoming month, because they just had it here for the 14th of October. So let's see, the next one is going to be the 11th of October. That's Veterans Day, November 11. That's what I'm seeing here, but it might be moved just in case. But check out their website. All right, so again, check out their website so you can attend that meeting if you're interested, where it's at, where it's being held at, and all of that. And then again, just verify. Not very often does a national holiday fall on the second Tuesday of each month, but when it does, they just check it out. Make sure you get the latest information. They don't have a meeting in December, again, because it's the holidays. But they'll pick it back up again in January, so keep an eye on that. So stop by their website for more information. Alrighty, now we round the horn, making our way towards home. We're going to stop off and visit the official website of for the South Texas Amateur Repeater Society, STARS, right? Stars. And that's at Whiskey5RomeoGolfVictor.org. Whiskey5RomeoGolfVictor.org. And a reminder, join them on their daily, and I'm talking every day, Monday through Sunday, every day, the Valley Information Net on their Stars Link repeater system every day, daily, every day at 7 p.m. Central. So join them there. Check in. If you're not licensed, listen in. You can listen in, but do not key up that mic. All right, now also from the South Texas Amateur Repeater Society, their Facebook page. And again, that link will be in the show notes. Again, December 7, 2025. That's a Sunday. Sunday, December 7, 2025 at 2 p.m. Central Time at the Harlingen Public Library. In Harlingen, Texas, at the Harlingen Public Library, there's going to be a testing. There's going to be a testing session available there. So if you're interested in becoming a technician, getting licensed, take the test. And hey, if you pass the test, because you get graded right there, if you pass the test, you have the opportunity to take the next test, the next level, right? General. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, but again, you got to pass the first one. They'll give you the opportunity to take the next one. And that's something I should have done when I had the opportunity, because I passed the first one. I said, do you want to take the next one? It's like, no, I wasn't ready. But as I'm studying for the next one, it's like, hey, I kind of was. So again, doesn't hurt, and it's free. That one is free. The second one is free. You still have to pay for the first one, but visit their information on the Facebook page. It'll give you more, like how much and all of that good stuff. And again, the link will be in the show notes, so look down below. Look for that. Well, folks, listen, that's the latest. That's the latest. And if I've missed anything, if I missed something, clubs, representatives from the clubs, or just somebody from the clubs, if I missed something, I didn't share something, do not hesitate. Drop me a note at Kilo India 5 Delta Oscar Golf. That's Kilo India 5 Delta Oscar Golf at yahoo.com. And just let me know, hey, for your next episode, here's this information, or here we got some dates, important dates coming up. And so be on the lookout for that. All right, let's wrap up this 11th episode of the 73 in the RGV. This episode topic was on FT-8. FT-8, and for new technician class hams, this can be one of the first steps into the HF bands and making those long-distance international contacts happen. So I'd love to hear how your first FT-8 experiences go, how they went. Tell me your success stories. We'll share them with everybody. And of course, send me a screenshot. I'll add it to the video side of this podcast. And again, of your first 10-meter contact, your first 10-meter QSO, you send it all over to ki5dog at yahoo.com. And so check it out there. Again, Kilo India 5 Delta Oscar Golf at yahoo.com. And let's celebrate those first HF milestones. Let's just share it with the community. They want to hear from you. They want to know. And of course, we share it with others. Others get inspired. And hey, next thing you know, we have more ham radio operators. So that's a good thing. Well, listen, until next time, this is Dave, better known as Kilo India 5 Delta Oscar Golf, saying 73 from the Rio Grande Valley.